it comes to vegetables, squash seems to fall into that love it or hate it category, but our first guest today says even picky eaters will love these squash recipes. We welcome back cooking instructor Jessica Hansen. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me be here and talk about squash.
This is very exciting.
Well, I feel sometimes like I'm trying to get people to eat their vegetables. At the kitchen where we are teaching classes, we grow a lot of the produce for the classes, and getting people to eat in season and be more confident cooking and eating seasonally is our thing. And so this is what's in season. That's
right.
it. I mean, it's kind of it. And you look at this, and in fact, as I walked in, somebody said, look at the beautiful pumpkins. And they were harvested in October in the season where everybody is celebrating the beautiful things that you carve and put on your porch, but they're also super edible. And there's tons of varieties that you still see on the grocery store shelves, so it's not too late.
So even these things that we're seeing here today, you can harvest them earlier in the fall and they are still good to eat today.
They're still totally good to eat.
Amazing.
These were harvested back in October on the farm. And like this one's a beautiful one, which is what I'm going to, it looks like the most intimidating because it's big.
Yes.
So I thought this is a version of a blue Hubbard squash.
Oh.
And so blue Hubbard squash, it looks beautiful. In fact, I set some in the kitchen out of where we store them, which is the best place to store them after you're done making them pretty is in a dark space that's cool. So maybe the corner of a garden shed or in your garage if it's not heated, because they'll keep best there, so not necessarily in the sunlight.
Perfect.
And then when you pull them out, I put them out, and someone that works with us just put them out on the table because they're so pretty. So they still really look good, but I pulled them off, and I just cut this one in half just to give you an idea of the kind of girth of this. This is a lot of squash. And when you hack that into pieces, and I'm going to do that for you, just so you can see the type of pressure that's needed.
We're really just going for it.
We're going for it. Now, this is an 8-inch chef's knife, which is just kind of a workhorse, and I use a towel or something to protect my hand for the pressure that I'm going to put on it.
That's a good idea.
Whenever I'm cutting something, I cut into it first, then I want it on a flat surface. So then you're literally just putting, this is it.
Getting your arm workout in.
Right, but that's not that hard.
No,
and
we
so
can
then,
do this.
Right, and so I'm going to do it again to make it a piece that is easier.
Okay.
Like, I'm not even making too much of an effort. So I don't want people to be too intimidated by the effort that needs to go in to a piece of squash.
Yeah, just go for it.
Right, so then when you're cleaning that up, you take the seeds out just like you would when you're scooping it with a pumpkin, and you end up with these types of pieces.
Beautiful.
This is where you wouldn't want to peel it with your vegetable peeler because you'll just blow through your vegetable peeler and you'd like to save that for carrots. So because this is a lot of squash, I'm not worried about losing a little bit of it. You just cut the sides off. You cut that peel. So use your knife to do that. And then I typically find that the best thing to do at this point is to roast it. So you're going to get the most flavor out of it by concentrating the sugars, putting it on a pan, letting it dry out a little bit and caramelize on the outside. And that's going to make the sweetness come out. So all you do with that, so say I chopped it into relatively even pieces. The only reason I say even is so that they cook at similar rates. But I don't care that this one is thinner at this end than it is in the middle. I mean, because that's just going to offer different textures if you were to puree it or bite into it. So that's not bad.
Beautiful.
And you're just going to toss it with a little bit of olive oil and roast it at 350 degrees. And it comes out like this.
That's so yummy.
So here's where you can hide it. So you could be putting this into risotto or a rice dish or into a warm rice salad. Or I toss this, I keep this prepped so that I will eat it in green salads. So it's just one more way of throwing it in. But if you don't have it roasted, you won't.
That's true.
So it's like, take care of this whole squash, roast it, get it to this point, and then maybe toss some with some greens, with some salad dressing, roll it into a burrito. I know that sounds crazy, but I can hide a lot of vegetables into a burrito, and my kids will eat anything pretty much that's wrapped in a tortilla.
Though. And there's so much nutrition in here.
Yeah, think of the beta carotene. Whenever you see color, that's when you know you're getting the most in the way of vitamins. The minerals are also preserved because it is in season. So those are the types of things you want to eat, is whatever would be growing or in season. So in this regard, I'm just going to take this. This could be pureed. We're going to puree it in a food processor. We could throw it in with some stock into a pot and make soup. But that, to be honest, is like everybody knows. Everybody does that. You still can't hide it in your kids' food. So I'm going to take it and just put that into a food processor. And this you could just puree. You could puree this with a can of garbanzo beans and make a hummus if your kids will eat hummus.
So good.
But I say just go ahead and puree it on its own.
Just go for it.
All you would need to do is literally, puree it. So the things that are going to make it tasty and that will make it palatable, and like what we finished here, is we'll take that squash and we'll add a little bit of seasoning. I'm a cheater, so I like to do some fast ways to get flavor. So I'm going to show you curry paste. Have you ever worked with curry paste?
No.
So curry paste, curry powder, that's an already made blend of seasoning agents. Curry powder is usually just some cinnamon and different spices together, but the curry pastes also include garlic, onion, ginger, all sorts of really good savory and some sweet spices. So this is kind of any grocery store. I can promise you any grocery store would have this brand. If you want to go a local and a little bit higher quality, you'd go to a nicer grocery store, and there's a handful of even local brands, which is super great. And so you just put a little bit of that curry paste in and a little bit of honey.
And probably you don't need much because there's so much flavor packed in there.
Yep. Little bit of honey.
Yum. That sounds amazing.
Right? So we're sweetening it up. Again, a little bit cheating because kids eat stuff that has a little bit of sweetness.
Well,
and then
just
we're
a
going
little
to
bit.
puree that again.
Yum.
And add a little bit of olive oil.
Oh, okay.
So the olive oil is going to give it texture. At this point, and a little bit of body. At this point, all we have is pureed squash with some flavor, right?
Right.
No fat in it at all.
Yeah.
This is going to give you a little bit of better mouthfeel. Now, I'm adding this and I'm just gradually adding it while I'm continuing to blend. And this is the process called emulsification. It forces the fat or the olive oil into that so that it makes a cohesive dip.
Okay.
So all we have in there, squash, curry paste, honey, and a little bit of olive oil.
That was it. Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Up with this beautiful texture that you're
color
able to.
Is so beautiful.
Right? And so imagine this as a spread inside of a sandwich, in a roll-up, any way to get these vegetables into your family members, including yourself.
So yummy.
And so I just took it off the plate. In fact, I've got more from this dish. I'll just show you how you can arrange it.
Yes.
Because it can be a nice appetizer too. It's just for a party.
What a great idea.
I just pureed it a little bit longer, as you can see. Put a little bit into a dish, kind of spread it along the side.
Make it pretty.
Make it pretty because we eat with our eyes, but look at the gorgeous color that you get out of that roasted squash. So with that, and then I like to top it with things. There's like you can put a little bit of za'atar seasoning, which is a Middle Eastern spice, but it just adds a little bit of texture. Has some roasted sesame seeds and oregano. I mean, anything that you have laying around. Sometimes I'll drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil because again, it's a good fat to have in your system and gives it a little bit of shine. And then some toasted bread. So we use some fresh focaccia if that will get you to eat it. If you want to have some nice little crostinis, pick your
perfect.
Right, and then you've got a nice thing that you can feel really good about yourself this year and take it over to a party and say, I'm in a gorgeous appetizer, and it's also full of healthful ingredients.
It's true. It looks gorgeous. You know, there's so much nutrition in there. And you can find great local ingredients too and feel good about that in the process.
Yep, and I just don't want anybody to be scared. This is not.
We can do this.
I cut into the scariest one, and there are tons of different ones that are available just at the grocery store, but also just like squash grows. If you've had one zucchini plant, you know that it's ridiculous. It's similar when it's winter squash. It's kind of a plant it and forget it, and then you end up with these beautiful squash that have a great shelf life because here we are eating them months and months later.
Okay, I'm gonna see. I'm so excited.
Well, good. And so far so good, right? Yeah, the crostini's a little crunchy, but a softer bread if that's what you like. But the bottom line is, isn't that a delicious, kind of sweet yet savory application for using that squash up?
Hint of sweetness is so nice with all the other spices and flavors happening. I love that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
What an exciting day for squash. Good for us.
Hey, we got to celebrate it when we can, right?
Nice to see you.
Oh, great. Great to be here.
We'll have more on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.